your socks! Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast as giving a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. All right. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a fireside chat. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Then make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out. See what we're all about. If there's any way you can help us out, it would be much appreciated. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about that amazing organization, go to their website. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. And for all you Marines out there, UFMF sailors, there's a place for you once you get out. It's called the Marine Corps League. We would be happy to have you come and join our ranks in the Marine Corps League. The fewer, the prouder, the Marine Corps League member. So go to mcleague.org and let's get our numbers up. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and go round robin. Robin. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing outstanding, Andrew. It's a beautiful day here in Southern California, despite all the other things about California. And I'm just super busy with work, helping veterans out. Plus, I'm the first vice president for the San Diego Nice Guys. So I have to run our charity auction, which is on May 3rd. So, we're getting down to about close to a month away. So we got to get into different items to auction off. We got to get people to buy their tickets. The theme is Margaritaville, tribute to Jimmy Buffett. So on May 3rd, we're going to have a heck of a good time.
I like it. We need to get our listeners out there to send you some gifts or whatever to auction off.
Auction off, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you're out there and you're listening and you're watching, let us know and we can get you Mark's info and you can shoot him something cool.
And come join us. The ticket is only $225 and it's all you can eat and drink from 6 to 10. Oh
man, you're opening up a world of hurt for some people because when you say all you can drink, that could be a problem, especially for veterans.
Until 10 o'clock.
Woo, buddy. Man, well, got to do what you got to do, I suppose.
And
right?
we're raising money for the good cause here in San Diego County, citizens of San Diego County, and any active duty and veterans that are in San Diego County. We help them
very
also.
Nice. Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's a great organization that you have too. So,
well, thank you very much.
But all right, well, let's go ahead and move on. So I have Carissa and Andrew Pierson here. They have coming out soon a new movie. It's called A Soldier's Descent. It offers a chilling exploration of a veteran's descent into psychological turmoil. The film stands not only for its gripping narrative, but also for its commitment to shedding light on the mental health challenges that many veterans endure. As highlighted in a recent article, this project dares to explore the haunting realities of veteran experiences, a theme that hasn't been addressed with such intensity since the film of Rambo. And I got to be honest, I'm a big fan of Rambo, so it should be a good movie. But how you doing, Carissa, Andrew?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, things are wonderful today.
Well, I'm excited to have you on and kind of talk us about the film and that good stuff. So, Carissa, you correct me if I'm wrong. You were doing you're the director for the film. Is that correct?
I am the movie producer for the film. I am directing, but I am not the main director. Guthrie Lowe is going to be my main director for the film, and I'm his assistant.
You got all kinds of hats then.
Well, being a nurse, you put a lot of hats on, take a lot of hats off, and I have a wonderful cast. I have Andrew Pierson with us today. He is playing Sergeant Barney, and he is our lead character for our movie, and he's going to be sharing with you a little bit about his character. Go ahead, Andrew.
So, Andrew, thank you again. I just wanted to thank you for having us on the show today, and thank you for serving, by the way. It's very important. I've never want to forget that, everyone. But so I play Sergeant Barney Griffith in this movie, U.S. Army, and it's during Desert Storm. And remember, this is fictional, so
yeah,
some of it is a little stretch. But I'm actually with a loving wife, played by Leonora Shelfo from Scream. She plays Judy in the movie. And what happens is I get sent overseas, obviously to Saudi Arabia, and I get deployed and I get captured. And there wasn't a lot of that happened during Desert Storm, but again, let's go with the fiction here. So I get captured. I'm missing for a good year. They think I'm dead. I actually come back. My life has totally changed. I was tortured when I was captured. My whole life I watched a friend of mine die when I was captured in Saudi Arabia, right in front of me. The worst things that could ever happen with torture happened then. And they sent me back home. I find out my wife has left me, and I decide that I've had enough. That I can't deal with any of this. Oh my God! This is what happens when it's on your cell phone, right? Okay, look at that. I didn't even touch it either. So what happens is I decide that I've had enough, and we had a cabin in the woods, and I just what is going on here? Look at that. Hold on, we're having a.
Well, how about
the camera here? Here we go.
You're good. Don't worry about it. We're pretty laid back here, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's like this camera's not playing ball today.
So basically, I'll just take over just for a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
The interesting aspect that we found as we were working and developing the writing, Phil Herman wrote our movie, and then he sent it over to us to take a look at it. I read a lot of the scripts. Andrew does more of his line aspect, and he helps me out with some of the scenes, reminding me what needs to be built in, and we work together as a team. But with that said, we realized that we had a great opportunity to really put some hard themes into this horror movie, and to really give a spotlight on some of the struggles that our soldiers that are returning home from whatever deployment it is. We have found that PTSD, and you can call it shell shock, the old verbiage, or you can call it PTSD, but everyone has experienced something in that form. And so with that, we are creating this movie to spotlight that, but not to spotlight it in a conversation, but to spotlight it in allowing our civilian folks to really see what that looks like, because they don't understand.
And so where we were with that, which Carissa brings up a good point. So in the movie, when I come back, my wife leaves me, and that's one big thing that is just, I only had a couple of shreds of life that kept me together. That was one of them. She left me. I decided to go into seclusion in the woods, in the cabin. I just kind of want to stay off grid. And I have a friend that comes to visit me to kind of, the only person that's able to keep me somewhat centered and focused on everything, and level. And what happens is he gets killed by some reckless campers. They kill him, and they don't really care. And that is the last part of me that decides, I'm done. It's like I've had it. They took the last piece of me, and I go on a killing spree, which is not unheard of. We've been told by other people that, at first I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to be in trouble. The Army's going to kill us. All these vets are going to be like, what? And everyone's like, this could really happen. So, I ended up getting just, my head's gone. I'm like, it's payback time, and I've had it. You know, I've just you broke the straw on a camel's back. So in the movie, like Carissa started saying, we put a lot of things from the triggers back into the movie as we were unfolding, talking to people. And the vet just said, "No, you got to do this. You've got to do it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, we might as well put stuff into the movie that really address PTSD. What happened? You know, a lot of it is, you know, for me in that particular movie, it's the torture scenes that come back, and things are coming back as things happen in my life. You know, my wife leaving me. That's just that. You know, someone. Christina Laughter she plays a love interest, and I just get flashbacks of Judy, which is bad. I end up turning to drinking. There's some domestic violence in there. A friend of mine, you know, there's potential suicide in this movie as well. We even put in PTSD meetings, and I know Carissa would be, she loves telling the story. We even got a PTSD dog from one of the vets. He's like, my dog could be in the movie. We're like, yeah, absolutely.
Very nice.
This is awesome. I said, yeah, this is. And people are like, you got to put this in. Besides, you know, what happens with the doctors? They give you all these pills, nothing happens. You know, and it's like I have a couple of scenes where I'm like, you know, how many pills do you want me to take? You know, it's not doing anything. What do you want from me? You know, it's like you want to keep drugging me. So it's a horror, but it's hard hitting. You know, and I've got to be the one that drives it home with how it is and get the audience to connect. So I got my work cut out for me. I can tell you that. But Carissa and Guthrie put the script together. She's right. I'm bad. I'm an actor, you know, and I haven't served before. My father was a Nam, so I'm one of the Nam kids. My grandfather was a chief in the Navy. And my father never wanted to talk about Nam. I asked him 100 times. It was like, oh, nope. You know, I was in the Army. That's about it. And that's all I ever got out of him. My grandfather, you know, he drank a lot. He used to hide it, smoke a lot, drink a lot, and just that's what he did. And it was just, it got to the point where it hit everything. My grandmother had a hard time with it. So I grew up watching this. You know, my father who wouldn't talk about it, and then my grandfather who, you know, hid alcohol all over the house, you know, and my grandmother never understood. I'm like, you can't take this away from this guy. I said, you know, he's in World War II. It's just, you know, you can't. And it's like, and I watched it and I'm like, how do you help? So this movie, you know, has a lot of meaning to both Carissa and I. We need it done. And we know what kind of impact, even though it's a horror movie, people need to be entertained to get what's really happening out there. That's how people learn. It's like, I love documentaries, but let's face it, no one's going, man, tonight we can watch a cool horror movie or a documentary on, you know, whatever it is on McDonald's. Or no one, I mean, those are fun, but you get more of an impact from, you know, entertainment.
That's true, yeah.
So we decided we could be responsible filmmakers, so let's put all that stuff from the documentary in the entertainment. And let's bring this to light because people are, I mean, and there's going to have to be me at the beginning of the movie saying, hi, I'm Andrew Pierson. I play Sergeant Barney Griffith in A Soldier's Descent. This movie talks about hard subjects, PTSD, suicide, domestic violence, substance abuse. It may not be appropriate for all audiences. If you or someone you know is suffering from it, we'll have resources at the end of the movie to help. Please enjoy Soldier's Descent. So, you know, we're really trying to be the responsible filmmakers, but Carissa has all those details. She worked with Guthrie. They work together all the time on this. So I'll let her take over all those details on the movie. But that's the story in a nutshell. And it's really hard hitting, and I think it's impactful. And what we put back into it is really going to do the justice it needs. I'll tell you what, Desert Storm uniforms are hard to come by. We got a crash course. They're like, no, you need chocolate chip. I'm like, okay, we need these uniforms perfect because people are going to be like, pause. Is the flag the right way? We already know. I already know. Trust me. I'm that way. So I'm like, you know, we want it perfect. So we are lucky enough to be by Fayetteville, by Bragg. So all the stores know us. They all know us. We walk in, the movie guys are here. I'm like, I need uniforms. So I play military often. So, you know, I have some, you know, today tops that I play a sergeant with different names. But, you know, so I play often. So, you know, even though I've never served, I have enough tops that it's like we want it perfect. And we're lucky enough to be by Bragg that allows us to do that. So I let Carissa talk. I talk too much.
Well, I was going to say with the being by brag, I mean, that's really good because you can walk right over and ask veterans or people serving right now and say, hey, what does it look like? Is this good? Is this bad? Whatever. You have plenty of individuals there.
That's exactly what I did, because working on around the base as a critical care nurse, I had a lot of opportunities to do the research. I had a lot of time to talk to people. That's why in the film I made sure to showcase some of the examples of what happens to our veterans as they return. Because the reality is, you guys get prepared to be the soldiers and to get boots on the ground. You're taught what you need to do. Your life is structured. You have so much structure when you're deployed. You have so much structure and a lot of waiting time. We know that, the reality of that. But when you get home, there's no structure on how to get back into civilian life. And the reality is, wives leave you, families move on, jobs aren't there. And then the reality of how do we get these boys back into being, having the structure they need and still having the brotherhood they need, because it seems like they get home and everybody scatters for a little while. And then that's when we start seeing the problems that start arising. And the biggest theme for me as a critical care nurse and working the ER and watching things go through is that a lot of times people don't know how to talk to our veterans. They don't even know how to just be quiet, sit down and listen to them. Listen to what the problems are. Listen to where they're at. Just be there. That's all they want. And you may not be able to relate to them, but all they need you to do is just be quiet. Just be quiet and listen. And so I really want to bring that forward in the movie. And, at first the boys, I call them the boys because they are my boys, my crew team. Andrew came on board pretty quickly with me because he listens to what I have to say. Guthrie, it took him a little bit because everybody was worried that, the veterans are going to be upset if we showcase this. But as I kept showing everyone, this is what I'm getting back. This is what my research is finding. We realized that we have a responsibility as filmmakers to really give value to this, and to really allow the civilian population to have an opportunity to look and see what's truly going on. And when I say that, I'm talking about the physician visits. They love to give you pill bottles and love to numb you out and love to make you not realize what's going on and make you just numb. And that's not going to fix things. It's not going to help you deal with things. And that's what we're going to showcase among a lot of other things with this. And we did a lot of work on the research, and we've really built the script so that people are going to fall in love with the characters. They're going to love Barney. They're going to be rooting for the campers, because unfortunately in life, whether you're a veteran or civilian, life happens, and we end up sometimes making mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes can cost us dearly. And so we show that in the movie as well. We show that it goes from Rambo going into I Know What You Did Last Summer to the revenge aspect, because the campers usually take a good friend of Barney away. But we have not started production on our film yet. We are in what I call pre-production. We are now in the campaign funding, and it's crowdfunding is what we're doing. And we're on Indiegogo is where you can find
Indiegogo.
It. It's a soldier's event on Indiegogo. And to make a film, to give it the quality and to give it, I like to say, give it the power and the stamina that it needs, I need $150K to make this film. And it's due. I see it. I know we can get there. My goal was to be, and it still is to be ready to film and get started filming in late June, the last 3 weeks of June. But we have to reach that funding aspect, because I'm not going to bring a whole team together if I can't pay for things. I don't want to cut anything out. I want my special effects to look good, because believe me, no one knows my kill scenes in the movie, not even my actors. They're not going to know until the day of the shoot, and I'll be handing them this is a scene. Are you ready to do it? And it's going to have that surprise aspect.
Very nice. I like that a lot. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of surprise going on.
Yeah. And so we came to your podcast, and we're asking our veterans for support because we feel that this is gonna impact your lives a lot. It's gonna give us conversations that are needed. When people see this film, they're gonna walk away going, I didn't even know this was a thing, and they're gonna start talking about it. And hopefully it'll wake up a lot more of not just the civilian community, but maybe poke a few other bears to get them going, whoa, wait a minute,
Yeah, absolutely. So when you in order to get the money and everything, where are they going to go specifically? Or to if they're going to donate or anything like that, where do they go?
They go to the Indiegogo. Andrew, can you help me with that?
Yeah, if you go to Indiegogo and you put in a soldier's descent, it'll bring up our campaign.
Okay.
We've been very fortunate, believe it or not. We have producers that are vets. They've given a lot of money so far. We have vets on cast. We have Air Force Amy. I don't know if you've heard of Air Force Amy from Cat House. She is a former Air Force vet, by the way, honorably discharged as well. People ask me that all the time. Yeah, she's wonderful. She's going to be playing a cameo in the bar. We figured if we're going to put a bunch of vets in there, let's have a fun-looking blonde that's fun and upbeat as the bartender. And, let's have some fun with this. So we're like, we got to put Air Force Amy in there. But at the end of the day, we're very fortunate to have we're getting a lot of veteran support, actually probably more than the horror community. The horror community is like, you're doing what? I mean, it's fun. I said, okay, listen, there's still a lot of epic kills in here. Yeah, I mean, you guys like watching me. I'm the size of the Rock. You like watching me run around and kill people. That's still going to be in there. But, we added a lot more because, Rambo did it back in the day, and it was good. I mean, I know some people didn't support it, but for the most part, it's huge, and the veterans absolutely did. So I'm like, what? I told Carissa, and on the team, it was like, oh my gosh, what is going on with this? Or should we really be doing this? And I remember that we had launched the movie, and we had put the our Facebook group. Someone goes, and then Phil Herman reaches out. The writer's like, Andrew, I got a question in the group. Is this about PTSD and suicide? And I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, have Carissa do it. And we're all like, and she goes,
everybody freezes, and then I have to take over.
Yeah.
I gotta get that hat on,
And she's like, and she goes, yes, it is. It absolutely is. And it was a doctor. A psychologist is like, good. It's about time people are bringing this to light in a way that people are actually going to pay attention. And I'm like, what? So that was like a light. And then all of a sudden I talked to friends of mine. I said, so we're making this horror movie, but we kind of downplayed the army part of it. But now we're starting to put it all into the movie again because we didn't realize the impact. Andrew, anyone that's talking about this, that's what we need. We need people talking about it. If that's what it takes for people to talk about it, I'm all for it. He goes, entertain people and bring these real topics to light. So we literally, it was like, put this back in, put this in. I said at the beginning of the movie, I said, I researched the torture that was going on. And there wasn't a lot of it in Desert Storm, but I researched it. I said, I want that in the beginning of the movie. I want people to feel what was going on there and bring it in and find out why the character is acting that way.
And it's not just that. It's not just that piece of why we wanted to put that back in. It's the reality, because no matter what, there's always a risk when our boys are deployed. We know this. As being children of veterans, we knew those risks, and we lived it. And many of them still live that. No matter if it's a peaceful deployment or not, there's always a risk of going into other countries trying to give the support that we need to give and take the orders that we need from, our commanders. But the reality is we want people to understand that the impact of some of the things that our veterans have had to go through and the impact of what it has when they come home, because there still is not a lot out there on mental health, and there's not a lot out there. We do great taking care of our physical aspects. We have gotten better at taking care of our amputees. We've seen a lot more improvement, but we have not seen a lot of improvement in the mental health area. And that's where I wanted to take this film and be and be more diligent and just really shove it right out there, right in the middle of the spotlight, and just give it its glorious view that it needs to be given, so that we can have some of those hard conversations. And
Right.
and it's needed. We know that it's needed. Just the other day, looking at the ED tracking board that I have to look at, even if I'm not working in the ER, I'm pulling patients up. There's 11 patients down there, and a lot of them were, various ages. Tons of them were kids. We're just in a part of just everyday life that people are suffering. And so, just to be able to bring a platform and have a speaking aspect to suicide and to PTSD, it gives an opportunity for people to kind of take a step back and realize, there are people out there suffering, and what does that look like? And then, maybe, you never know, the movie, if it saves one veteran or one person from committing suicide, then I've done my job. It's done. I have done what I have wanted to accomplish, was entertain you, scare the hell out of you, and keep you from doing something stupid, so that it doesn't hurt your family or your loved ones. And that's really important to me as a filmmaker, is doing the right thing and making sure that I'm bringing a quality piece, not just a boring entertainment piece of. And I think that when you talk about that, that's why we're coming to our veterans, because one, we need your help. Not just, I've done my research. I'm still talking to everyone. I'm still running things past my veterans that are involved that are my producers and that are involved on the set. But at the same time, like I was sharing with you earlier, it's great that I have a public group on Facebook. It's wonderful that people give me thumbs up and they give me the heart emojis. And I love it when they share the campaign and they share what's going on. But it bothers me and hurts me when people go, I'll wait till you get it in film. I'll wait to see it in the theaters. I can't have that. I need help, because I need the funding so I can get it in the theaters and wow the pants off of you. So, with the Indiegogo campaign, you don't have to be active in the movie industry to support this. We have perks for everybody. And when I'm talking about perks for everyone, we have T-shirts that we're selling that has a soldier's descent on it, so you can promote the movie before it even gets out. We have thank yous that will be in the end credits, and that will help, because every dollar that goes to the campaign is going to the production of the movie. So, we're not just having to pay the cast. We're not just having to pay the crew. And there's a lot to putting a movie together. The special effects that you're going to see with the kill scenes and the logistics and the wardrobe, there's just so much to it that, it adds up as a filmmaker. And being like I have shared with you, being an independent filmmaker, I don't have the big brothers that other people have. I don't have Sony supporting me. I don't have MGM supporting me, and I don't have Blumhouse's love either. And they won't touch these things. They won't touch these topics the way I'm going to touch them. If they even took a movie like this, it would be. And I'm just going to be honest, because I'm not afraid of hurting their feelings, because I don't plan on being with them. They would water it down. And they would water it down so much that you would walk away from that and it wouldn't have the impact that we needed to have.
Right. Yeah. And, it's good that you're tackling, PTSD, veteran suicide, stuff like that. I mean, those are things that we talk about here on the podcast all the time, those transitions from military back to the civilian life, and you're right, talking about the mental aspect of things. Although it's getting a little better, as we move on, but still we have a long way to go when it comes to mental health. And there's so many programs, so many things that are out there that, like, the VA doesn't necessarily cover. It's just alternative type of things. But yeah, it's a huge topic in the veteran community. So I'm glad that you're taking it on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mike, you got anything to ask?
I think it's phenomenal what you're doing. Like I said, getting that word out. If it's one more person or one more entity pointing out the issue of PTSD and veteran suicide and just what they go through. And I like how you're touching on. Hopefully, I think you said you're going to be touching on the suffering that a spouse goes through.
Mm.
I know this. I think I heard you saying this spouse left her husband, but she probably assumed that he was dead. I'd imagine, unless I'm not sure what the character, if they knew he was a POW or not. But anyway, the suffering that a spouse goes through is horrific at times, and you know, they end up having post-traumatic stress also.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they do.
From what it goes through.
They do. And to answer your question about the spouse, I do make sure I added in and I built the character so that everyone would understand. So there's no question. She was told that he was missing, and she knew she assumed he was dead. He hadn't been back in a year. He's gone, missing in action. And, civilians, it's hard to run a household and to be a part of society that doesn't even understand what she's going through. So we're really going to hit that hard, and we're going to hit a lot of those different aspects of that as well.
I wouldn't want people coming away hating the spouse.
No, I made sure that doesn't happen, because it's not the spouse's fault. It's just, and that's how as a filmmaker, that's how I have made sure that with Guthrie and I, we've built Judy's character so that you love her and you feel her pain of she still loves Barney, but she had to move on, and now what do you do with that? And so you feel that struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there almost has to be some sort of empathy at that point. That's got to be a tricky thing to try to, when you're making a movie like that, to try to convince people to actually have empathy in a situation like that. I mean, it's pretty interesting.
Well, being a nurse in the critical care world, and I'm a 30-year veteran here in nursing, and the one thing I've learned is you can't teach people empathy. You can help them understand it, but if they don't have it, they don't have it. And so, I always bring it back to the sandwich example. You've got a person in the cave in the dark, and this woman who's trying to help. We always say this nurse is trying to come down, and she goes, "Here's a sandwich," when in reality, all you needed to do was sit there with them in the darkness. And that's where I'm trying to showcase that in the movie as well. You'll see that with Daniel's character. Daniel is the best friend of Barney. Before Barney loses it, Daniel was checking on him, and you will see how I'm telling the story where Daniel comes out to check on him, but also he's trying to pull him back. He's trying to bring him back with him, and a lot of the buddy checks that the veterans do, the brotherhood checks. You need to pick up the phone. You need to call your brothers and make sure they're doing okay. And I'm showing that in the film as well, because a lot of people don't realize that is needed. And you don't even have to be a veteran to do that. Pick up the phone and call your loved ones. Pick up the phone and call your friends. And so I'm really putting that in there, even though, it is a horror. You're going to see all of those layered in. It's going to be a beautiful onion.
Beautiful onion. I like it. That's good. Well, hey, thanks for coming on and talking to us about the film. I'm excited to see it myself. And it's A Soldier's Descent, and you can help support it. Don't just thumb it and give it a heart. Go ahead and help support. But you can go to Indiegogo, and it's A Soldier's Descent, and then you can be able to donate money and help them out and buy T-shirts, do something like that. But yeah, thanks for coming on and doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, if you have anything else that you would like to say before we start wrapping it up here.
I just want to say thank you to all of you for your service. I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast. And thank you to all your listeners for giving us an opportunity and to listen to what we're trying to accomplish and achieve. And I want to thank you, no matter where you're at, for your contribution, your thoughts of contribution, as well as hang in there. Every day is a better day, and you are valued.
Very nice. Yeah, thank you. Chris and Andrew, at the end of the podcast here, we always do what we call words of wisdom. So it's just, we find something and we just kind of share with people. So what I'll do is I'll hit Mike up first, and then we can go to Carissa and then Andrew, and you guys can kind of give some words of wisdom. And now Mark is the superstar when it comes to words of wisdom. He always comes in last here because he's always got the zingers for us. So I think you'll be impressed with a zinger whenever we get there, but we'll go ahead and do words of wisdom. All right, Mike, what do you got?
I don't have anything super fancy. It was something somebody said to me as a buddy of mine I grew up with that, we were best of friends growing up, and over the years kind of lost touch and then reconnected with, social media and stuff like that. But, he's a guy that was there for, my father's funeral, my mother's funeral, stuff like that. But, we'll text here and there, but we're not really, he's my best, one of my best friends.
Yeah.
He didn't serve in the military, but, he's still, to me, he's my brother. And we were talking, actually, the last couple of weeks, we've been talking quite a bit on the phone, but he said something he said something and I said something. I don't remember what led up to it, but he goes, one thing, Mike, he said, when in doubt, reach out.
That's good.
Because I told him, I said, I said, there's sometimes I'll think about you and I'm like, man, I need to call Phil. I need to, and he said, I do the same thing. And he said, I'm just as bad as you are. But he said, when in doubt, reach out.
Yeah, I really like that. That's good. Man. All right. Carissa, you want to go next?
Sure.
All right.
So I think the biggest thing I've learned in nursing and learned in life is no matter where someone's at, and you don't know the words of what to say to them, you don't know how to show them something, sometimes just sitting there and sitting next to them is all that it's going to take. Just sit with somebody and be kind.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. All right, Andrew, what do you got for us?
I'm going to say, after speaking with a lot of vets and whatnot, always make time. It's hard enough, I think, for people to tell you their story. But then if you don't give them the time to listen, it doesn't do much good now, does it? So
yeah,
I learned with the vets, it's huge for anyone. And I've had a lot ever since they've seen the movie. They don't want to, I've been on 130 movies as a producer or an actor. They don't ever want to talk about any of these movies. I reach out because I have other directors are like, how's The Soldier's Descent doing? And I'm like, and this happened last night. And one of the directors is like, Andrew, I'm a former vet. And they want to share everything with you. I mean, it's one of these things so I learned, make time to listen. Doesn't matter who you are. If someone's going to share themselves with you, not enough people listen, just make the time. That's all you've got to do. You may not understand it. You may not be able to relate to it, but make the time. It's important enough for them to tell you. Make the time to listen.
I like that. Yeah, that's good. All right. And we come up to the man, the myth, the legend. All right, Mark, what do we got? Oh, you're on mute. You can't tell us if you're on mute, Mark.
To echo what everyone else was talking about, people going through some difficult times. We never know what someone's going through. You never know what another person's going through. So you never look down on someone unless you're helping them up.
That's good.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a good one. Good zinger at the end. He's always good for the zingers. I'm telling you, I love it. All right, Carissa, Andrew, thank you for coming on, sharing about this. A Soldier's Descent. Go out and support them. But I'm excited to see it when the movie comes out. But keep us in touch and let us know how things are progressing. If we can help in any way, please let us know. But thanks again for coming on. Much appreciated.
Thank you guys for having us tonight. And thank you all for serving.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to meet you.
All right. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, anything like that, go ahead and reach out. The VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, One veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. Mike, Mark, Carissa, Andrew cares about you. The whole veteran community, the civilian community care about you as well. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with, ask them how they're doing. And if they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, one last time, thank you all. Truly appreciate it. To all the listeners, stay motivated, change your thoughts.
San Diego, California, USMC.